Ooh, yeah. Nice. Okay, welcome back. So, here we are in the Eastern Sierra. My name is Chad Kasten. I'm a local fly fishing guide. Been guiding out of the area for quite a few years. And today we're fishing the lower Owens River. Throughout the whole summer, the flows have been a little too high out here to really get in comfortably and doing any fishing. And the last 2 days they dropped quite a bit. So I'm getting in here and I want to see what these fish are doing. I haven't been able to check on them all summer. And sometimes it's a great time to come out and fish for them after no one's really been able to get to them for a while. So we're going to explore around today and see what we can get. Today for my setup, I've got a little bit different rig than I typically use. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a long indicator or a long line coming off my indicator with 2 flies and some weights. Because I have so much weight on my flies, I need to have an indicator that will float it all. If you've watched any of my older videos, I'm a big fan of yarn. But out here today in these conditions, that yarn just isn't going to hold this weight and all the chaotic currents that are happening. So I'm opting for a pagan bubble style indicator. Airlocks work well, you know, anything that can hold a lot of weight. But when you're out here in these rivers that have conflicting currents, you want an indicator that can hold a little bit more weight. I'm not going to be able to overhead cast it and have that nice casting experience like I do with my yarn indicators, but it's going to give me a full drift and it'll be way more effective for me hooking fish. I got one up there, but my phone overheated and wasn't able to get the picture. So I want to show you what I'm using a little bit today. I've got this hard indicator. It's a pagan ball style indicator. It can float that weight a little bit better. Then I've got a split shot here. I did have a fly coming off the edge, but that little guy stole him when I was releasing him. And then another fly down below. And about 4 feet of distance between my indicator and my fly. I could go up to 6, maybe even 7 feet because these holes are deep in here. I'm gonna get another fly on this guy really quick though. Okay, this water's a little wild. I'm gonna be careful with my dog here. That stuff will sweep you down. Yeah, lady, you be careful. Stay. All right, we got a big sweeping back eddy back there. I think I need to get deeper for it. It almost seems just too strong in there. See, that's the problem with the Owens at these higher flows is you got these great spots, but that water just gets too heavy and pushes too quickly and there's too many undercurrents. Even though if it might look slow on top, underneath there's just a raging torrent of currents. And those fish don't like sitting in that turbulence. But there is some slower water up here on the higher pocket and they do have to find a place to live. So, oh my gosh, that glare is horrible. All right, we're gonna try a heavier weight, jig-headed fly here. See if we can get down a little bit better. And maybe if there's a hungry fish that's more aggressive, it'll eat that bigger fly. So I'm just having trouble staying in the strike zone. Oh, that seems so much better. Yep, we just needed more weight on this system. Right now for me, this is more of a game of getting a good drift than it is catching fish. Because I know it's slower, I know the conditions are hard, I have to kind of shift my mental energy. I don't want to be stuck in, why aren't these fish eating? There we go, found them. Oh man. All right, back out of that heavy current. Ooh, yeah, nice. All right. Yep, they just wanted it deeper. All right. a decent fish for here. Oop, it's gonna be hard to get him up above that current. This current gets really fast once we get into shallow water. There we go. Awesome. Beautiful rainbow. Man, these rainbows in here are just getting so much bigger. There we go. Good looking rainbow for here. He took off pretty good there. Okay, we'll see how consistent that is. Maybe it was just a one and done. What I really noticed with that one though was I finally got my nymphs down and I could get a good drift without getting drug all over the place. Weight helps with that a lot. Sometimes if you don't have a lot of weight on your flies, there's nothing to anchor it down in that slower current. So your indicator that's floating on top in that fast water just swoops it down. So you kind of need that weight to counteract the forces that indicator's acting on. And it's a balancing act sometimes. And that's what I could tell. Once I did that, I was just getting a much better drift. And that's why we hooked that fish. I think the fly was probably secondary. Without a doubt, it did like that fly, but I think what was more important in that one was that we finally got down, we finally got a good drift. It wasn't necessarily the fly per se. Like if we had another fly with a similar weight, I'm sure that fish would have eaten it as well. There we go. Yep, we're hooking up. Maybe not. That wasn't the best drift. Ooh, this guy's staying down this time. All right, not really a fluke. They like that heavier, bigger fly. There we go. Another good rainbow. Almost got wrapped around a weed there. Get them upstream to you. And net them. Awesome. Another good rainbow. This one's a little bit smaller, but still just got plenty of energy. Ah. And they're looking good. These guys haven't been hooked all year. This is like the first hooking since, I don't know. Look at that rainbow. Good looking rainbow. You like it, lady? Okay, let's go find a new spot. I think we figured this one out. Okay, so if you want to see what I'm going through and all this stuff, this is why the lower Owens get so gnarly, especially after, what, 6 months or so of no one fishing it. This is what we're dealing with. Just thick brush. And I'm just pushing through all of it, and there's no trail. You know that they're two leaves, and you know that there's a river on the other side, so you just keep going. That's what it looks like. Do you see it? Do you see where we're going? Hey, there's a little area. We just kind of keep going. I have my rods up high. Look at that. I can't even, I'm like in water too. I don't know if you could hear that. Oh, you just push. I think I should bring a machete out here. Gosh. Come on. Oh. All right. You're out. Woo. That's fishing the lower Owens. Just all in that. You look at that and you go, well, I know there's a river in there. And some fish, so you give it a go. That one worked out for us. I'm thinking we get back in the truck, hop upstream a little bit. I don't know, well, you can see me down here. It's kind of a weird filming situation. But we figured out a fly that they might like. We'll see if it works up here. It's a little bit different river conditions. We're not really in a back eddy. It's a nice quality run here. Maybe a little heavy for this type of water, but it's still slow behind those rocks. There are spots that fish are gonna hold. So why don't we poke around and just see what we can find here. In uniform flows or uniform currents like we have right here, you don't need a whole lot of weight. Even though it's bombing downstream, it's all uniform. So your fly isn't getting pushed left, right, up, down, all whichever way. It's just going downstream pretty quick, but it's able to drop very easily. In those other holes where it was a back eddy and swirling water, you got currents pushing your flies all over the place. Yeah, that water's moving. But there's all types of holding water in here. There's big old boulders, and those fish will sit right behind those boulders and move up and grab food. But we'll just keep working closer and closer to that slow water over there. This is a fun drift. We'll see how productive it is, but it is fun, I'll tell you that much. There we go, that's the spot. You have to do a lot of mends in there. Man, this is fun water to fish. See, as soon as that fly's landing, or that indicator's landing, I'm mending, and I'm mending over and over and over again. I'm not just mending once, hoping that'll work, and then letting it go downstream. I'm actively watching what's happening to my flies and what's happening to my line. When you have that much line out, those are called roll mends. When you're roll mending like that, sometimes you get a strike and you got so much line out, it's hard to set the hook on it. You got a little bit of time, but that's the only way you're gonna get a strike too, is with these roll mends and all this line out. So if you miss one here and there, you know, that's just a part of the game. It's just so fun in here, it's kind of hard to leave. All right, we'll call that one it. Okay, I think we'll wrap it up for today. Thanks for coming along and fishing Lower Owens with me. It was a good time getting out on the river. Flows are still a little high, but anytime you can get out and get that fishing right when it gets good you can't pass up on something like that. So I'll catch you next time and have a good day.